Leslie Cassettari. Have you got a firm of your own?
Yeah.
Give it a plug.
Reed's Travel.
Reeds.
West Vancouver, downtown, all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to get hell for saying that.
Why? Is that unethical?
Well, perhaps the members may be a little upset.
I mean, the only ethics you have to have is to make money and run a good operation.
And I have a commitment to the Association of Travel Agents.
How many travel agents in BC?
Retail travel agents, about 425.
There are retail travel agents.
Yeah.
You know, the bikinis behind the desk and all the rest of it, and you go in and you buy everything.
Yeah.
Then there are tour operators.
Yeah.
They're the little old ladies in the buses to Reno. And some of them are very good.
Some of them are
I used to know
fantastic.
a nice little old granny who used to phone me who ran great gambling tours to Vegas. Remember she used to phone Gladys? Years ago. Used to come and see me. Bring me little keychains from casinos. And then there's wholesale operators. Who are they?
That's right. Sun Tours is a good example, or Sunflight as they now call
Isn't
themselves.
that owned by an airline company?
No, that's an independent company. There's Wood Air's subsidiary company, Intervac. They operate their own programs to Hawaii and places like that. There's Wayfarer Holidays. All of these people put together a program and then try to sell it.
To you?
To people like me, to sell it to people like you, people of the general public.
No, I don't. I go to airlines because I know they're not going to
shouldn't
go
do
broke.
that. But you shouldn't do that.
Why
because
not?
you don't always get the best price. Each airline has a different price for the same route. And if you go to if you phone Air Canada, if I was Air Canada, I'd sell you an Air Canada ticket. If you go to a travel agency that knows what they're doing, they'll sell you the best airline for the best price that suits your needs.
Well, it depends whether you're 7 days before, 10 days before, charter, Apex,
Sure.
full fare economy. Because
Sure.
first class is just ludicrous,
Very expensive.
isn't it?
Very
Absolutely.
expensive.
Will they wipe out first class in the airlines?
I don't think so. There's always going to be a segment of people that are going to be
Always the
prepared to
travel
pay.
expense
Sure.
people. And cabinet ministers, of course. When they don't have the Jetstar available from Ottawa for flitting
yeah.
back and forward.
That's right, when they don't have their private aeroplane.
What was I going to say to you? Oh, yes. I don't think you should have your own disciplinary powers.
We should, providing we have a code of ethics so there is no grey area. So
No,
it's a
you-
very cut and dried issue.
Your duty when you're suspicious of a tour operator or a travel agent is to report them instantly to the Minister of Consumer and Corporate Affairs.
We have a good liaison with the minister and with the registrar.
You
and it works
inform
very
when
well.
necessary.
But not a matter of informing, but street knowledge is very effective. You hear what's going on in the business, any kind of business.
Okay, what's next? I see here that you recommend that Chandro recommends that membership in your branch of Association of Canadian in the BC branch of the association should be compulsory.
Yeah, we're not in favour of that. We see lots of problems with that. I have to run my own business, and all of the people in our association have to run their own business. It would mean a complete restructuring of our association if we did as Chandra recommends.
Not bad. Okie dokie. What else do you want to say? Seeing you here.
Lots of things. Providing the travelling public chooses their retail travel agency carefully, they won't run into problems with tour operators. It's when they think, and I hate to say it as you do, that it's going to be cheaper or they're going to get a better price or it's going to be more convenient if they go directly to a supplier, they run into problems. If they go to a reputable travel agency, they'll hopefully get unbiased expert advice.
So will I get the same cheap price
You get exactly the same price.
as the tour operator?
Exactly the same. It will never, ever, ever cost you any extra.
You
by
don't
dealing
make any money on selling me
Sure.
a tour?
You bet we make money.
But the tour operator, surely you must mark up the tour operator's
No,
price.
we get it at the same price you buy it, and you get the choice and the advice free of charge to, well, perhaps you should go on this tour and not that tour. So you get a choice. You get that expertise free of charge.
Because I want to stress, even though all these collapses, that there are good tour operators.
There are excellent tour operators.
You
There are
should only
excellent wholesale companies.
deal with them through a travel agent, you say.
If you deal with a travel agency, you stand less chance of running into problems than if you deal directly. And even if that includes buying a simple airline ticket. A travel agent will give you unbiased advice.
Same computer, same time?
Not always the same computer, but access to Air Canada, CP, PWA. And there's more airlines going into the Air Canada and CP Air computers, such as Pan American, KLM, a lot of carriers.
You'll all finish up eventually. We'll all finish up eventually on that one big computer.
Yes, we will.
And some bright 15-year-old kid in a high school somewhere will cause the computer to lose its total memory when he finds the secret entry to the computer. Right?
And then we'll be completely lost.
Then we'll go back to the old days of card index at the desk.
That was simple.
And they didn't overbook either, did they?
Well, they couldn't do it as
Leslie,
easily.
thanks for coming in, Cassettari, and
Pleasure.
taking some of my cheap jabs.
That's okay, I don't mind. Just go to an active travel agency, please.
Well, no, I'll go to another one. I'm stubborn. My thanks to Leslie Cassettari. Now we're going to have a free-for-all. Haven't had one for years. Try and make it bright, though, will you, this morning? After the break. I had to put my tapestry back up on the wall again. We got so many complaints about Fat Jack smoking cigarettes on the other one, and so much confusion when we put a batch of pictures. We're now at our wits' end. We don't know what to put on the wall. My wife doesn't like the tapestry. Lots of people, who cares? Maybe we should just have a blank wall. Let's match my blank face. Go ahead, please.
Yes, hello. How are you this evening? Or
Good.
should I say?
Oh, this evening I'm fine. This morning I'm fairly good, too.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I'm a little under the weather myself. Anyway, no, I wanted to talk to you about this employment situation and a food for thought. I think our greatest resource and the thing to end all value systems would be the loss of our planet and our environmental and our ecological systems. I think you should take the unemployed people, get them out there cleaning up after industry, and I think we should get after industry and get some politicians.
First of all, you got to get some jobs going.
Well, you got all these people on UIC, we're paying them to supposedly look for work and look after themselves. I think if they did a little civic time, or if the government could put in a system where after being off work for so many months, as it were, they'd have to put in so many hours per week for civil duty around their local municipality.
Any form of compulsion and direction of labor is unacceptable in this country, and that I agree with. Whether or not we pamper people too much on some occasions is something else again, but even at my advanced age, I must realize the world has changed. And there's no point in me sitting ranting and raving about a young couple, unskilled more or less, drawing $1,200, $1,300 a month on unemployment insurance, living common law. That can't be changed. Where you get the motivation for people to work and do civic duty, I don't know.
I think you have to, you have to show an example. I mean, if the government's going to sit on their butts and if they're going to sell our environment for the high price of industry, I mean, jobs, you may make jobs in industry, but if 40 years down the road we don't have an environment that'll contain our population or...
Well, just for how old are you?
Me? I'm 27 years old.
Okay, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, Europe was encased in a blanket of cancerous sulfuric fog.
Yeah.
And the improvements made in the last 50 years, despite the increased industrialization, have been truly incredible. Whether they're good enough or not, I don't know.
That's just it.
But there's been an awful improvement, a great improvement in the last 25, 50 years that people don't seem to realize. But I'm with you. I like your conscience. I like your attitude. What do you do for a living?
I'm mostly involved in the electronics and electrical field, but I'm very much involved in trying to improve the environment or show some example for the young people. I mean,
married or single?
I'm living common law, but we've bought a ring, so we haven't set a date yet.
Both working?
Yes.
Did you have any trades training?
I started a course at PBI, but I got out of it for personal reasons. But
You got a good job?
Beg your pardon?
You got a good job?
Yes, sir.
Do you need more training?
I prefer it, yeah.
You'll do it at night school. You won't quit and go to college and demand the maintenance from the government, will you?
I don't think that's the best route to go.
A lot of people go that way. Thank you for your call. Go ahead, please.
Am I on the air?
Yes, you are.
Oh, Mr. Webster, how come you didn't tell this Axworthy when you said that the Canadian working force is asking for 4, 5, 6 times more money than in other countries? How come you didn't ask him what example did they set when they got their raise, and if they went the same route as the labor goes through for negotiations?
I accept your rebuke. It's a proper rebuke. I missed the point. I should have jumped on him at once and said, what wage settlements do you want cut? Why do you give all these extravagant increases to senior civil servants? Why do you help yourself as Member of Parliament? You are dead on the bit, and I missed it, and all I can do is apologize and try to be brighter the next time, but thank you. A good question. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Mr. Webster.
Yes.
I just want to say I enjoy your program, and I love you.
Well, that's embarrassing to say the least.
Why?
Well, I'm not usually the recipient of love. A little admiration, perhaps.
Well, I'm sorry, but
Not love.
you expressed admiration. I thought it would be all right to express it to you.
Perfectly all right, and thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm certainly very good on some occasions. Some days I lack luster, because I follow my moods in the program. I go up and down like a yo-yo. And it really depends what time I waken in the morning. If I don't get up by 25 to 6, I'm dead in the water at 9 o'clock. Need time to waken. But I'm going, no resolutions, but I am going to lose 150 pounds this year. You shut up, Freddie. Don't give a shot of Freddie, because he's putting on weight. He's only 4 feet 3 and weighs 325 pounds. Don't give a shot of him. Otherwise, he'll be able to deny it. And you know what he was doing this morning? You know, he was tap dancing at his age. Just dreadful. Don't tap dance again, Freddie. You can't dance. You've got no rhythm. Go ahead, please.
Mr. Webster?
Yes, sir.
I wonder if someday you would put on a program to inquire how to curb the wage grabs and freebie grabs of politicians and their mandarins. How to keep them at home, probably in their respective capitals, and confine their activities therein, rather than letting them go on snow removal seminars to the sunny climes throughout the world.
Oh, you are so right. You are so right, sir. I don't know. I tried to get Axworthy to say that Canadians were slobs this morning, which is not true. But I don't know how you do it. They're like science fiction. A government is like Star Trek on a strange planet. The rocks begin to move and grow and swell by osmosis. That's what happens to civil service bureaucracies. They come out of the corners and they bubble in kind of molten stone, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And finally, William Shatner, when he's not in super value, has to zap them with his laser beam. No answer, sir. We're stuck until after the big crisis.
Yeah, but run like a seminar.
Seminars on snow removal. Lovely grab. How old are you?
Oh, 68.
God, I got to give you credit. You sound a lot older. You better get out and get some fresh air there. You're not getting enough exercise.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Must be time for a break. Don't stand by. I'll follow the cues. The red light is off camera 1. That's why I'm confused. The light is going, but the wee red thing has been taken off by some 9'6" cameraman. But I'm a mission. Camera 1, go ahead. No, 2. How can I see the red light if the red light cage isn't on top of the miniature bulb? Go ahead, please.
Yes, Mr. Webster.
Yes.
A few weeks back, you had the minister from housing on, and
Minister for Housing. Oh, Cosgrove.
Right.
Right, Paul.
Right. Anyway, I gave you a call at the time and asked a question and received the usual government minister's answer, which didn't respond whatsoever to the question.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the problem is it's to do with AHOP mortgaging and the assistance that was received by the people.
Remember the call.
Okay. Now we were told at the time that we would be repaying the assistance 5 years later at 11 3/4, and we signed contracts to this effect.
Right.
At the end of the 5 years, they come back with something saying that now all of a sudden we have to pay back at 20 3/4, and there's absolutely they don't plan on sticking to their part of the bargain at all.
Your initial mortgage was 8%. Is that right?
Well, it was 8% depending on the assistance that you received.
Your contract over 5 years, once you exhausted your subsidy, was to pay back at 11 3/4.
Right.
You now have a document and still have it at 20 3/4?
I have a document that's the new document that says 20 3/4, yes.
Is that not movable? Where did you get this document from?
From the government, from Canada Mortgaging and Housing Corporation.
Can you let me have a copy of that CMHC letter? Because 20 3/4 is out of the ballpark altogether.
Most definitely, yes.
I mean, the very most they should be charging you is the bank rate, which runs about bank mortgage rates run about what, 17.5 maximum.
Something like that, although we had
And
a...
you took that up with Cosgrove. Didn't he say he was going to get in touch with you?
No, not at all. No, he was interested in the MERB program, and
Will you give Gladys your name and phone number, and we'll get that copy of that letter from you, and I'll make a specific inquiry with the minister.
I would appreciate that.
That is a promise. If what you're telling me is, I'll do it either way, but if they're trying to nail you for a 20.75% mortgage contract,
That's right. When the original agreement was to pay it back at 11.75.
well, I can understand an adjustment in that, perhaps subject to means test in an AHOP house. Mind you, many of you did sell your houses and make profits, not many, some sold houses and made profits in the boom, did you not?
Yeah, well, the answer that we've received regarding this is what are we concerned about, because we have money into our property now, seeing as how the values have...
Well, I'll give you a parallel. In the amendments to the budget in the Income Tax Act, deemed interest on company loans to shareholders was first set at 19% as of the 1st of January. I think I'm right in saying that that now has been reduced to 16%. Now, if it can reduce the deemed interest on money in a company for housing loans, there's no reason why they should be charging you 20.75%. We'll get that letter from you, and I'll make a specific inquiry to the minister. How's that?
I would appreciate that very much, Mr.
I hope what you tell me is accurate, and I'll be back after the break. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Jack. I was wondering, is there any way that you could get someone on to fill us in on the Western Express?
Is that...
I don't think anyone really knows how it operates. We don't ever seem to know who wins anything or what happens to the money.
I strongly resent these computer lotteries because you don't get a counterfoil, you don't check back, thousands of prizes are unclaimed, and they say they give the money back again. Is it worthwhile? Should I bother? Is that Wednesday?
Yeah, Western Express.
Is that Wednesday?
No, I don't think so, Jack.
Yeah, I'll put it on the
I
list.
guess that's Wednesday.
Okay, I'll put it on the list.
Not
and
once
see-
a week.
I'll put it on the list, and we might well do Sunday from Wednesday.
I think that might be a good idea.
I don't gamble myself, nor do I drink or smoke.
Don't give me that.
Believe that, you'll believe anything. Go ahead, please.
Hello, Jack?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should hang that picture back up. The hell with what that guy said.
What's wrong with that one? Oh, you want the picture back up?
You bet.
You didn't know I was so handsome, did you?
Oh, really? It's nice.
I'd rather you told me you love me than that guy who phoned.
Yeah, I know.
Much obliged. You never know nowadays, do you?
Never know, Jack.
No. Go ahead, please.
Jack, the picture looks as if you're eating some of your porridge. But what I'd like to ask you about is I'm wondering if really the Canadian public is aware of what is happening in the security service in this country. That the government in the past has tried to exert undue political pressure upon the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, but now they seem to have accomplished it. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police has never been subverted before, and now here we have political hacks being put in charge of it, and I'm wondering if really the Canadian public is aware of it.
You mean the deputy minister who was appointed?
Yes.
I'm a little bit concerned about what they call the SS.
Well, the SS has some bad connotations from the Second World War, but
Sure
that's
has.
only because of the government decided to call them the security service. But I think the Canadian public should really be concerned about it.
The burial of the MacDonald report was smashing, though. You must give them 100% marks for that. I don't know. One is in two minds about the SS and how they operate.
Well, one must keep in mind, too, that I don't think too much of the MacDonald Commission has ever shown that there was any subversion of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
You're now afraid of infiltration of the mounted police. The moment you take it away from the good old Mounties and you put in civilians, who knows where the devil they came from.
That's right.
I agree with you. There is a measure of concern. Maybe I'll have Sawatsky on one of these days to give me his views about it. Sawatsky is the only reporter in the country who does a good, detailed, and honest job in looking into the men in the shadows. If you haven't read his book, read it. Much obliged. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Jack?
Yes.
Oh, change of pace. I just want to give you a pat in the back for that breath of fresh air you gave us over the New Year's holidays there for that tour of Scotland and London. More so
did
that
that.
old laird from the West Coast. I thought he was marvellous.
I did that last November. They've been repeated so often they're worn out.
Oh, well, I just saw them all together over the holidays there, and it was great.
The best one was 93 Battlefield Avenue.
Yeah. Okay, thanks again.
Much obliged.
All right.
That's another Polish refugee from Scotland. 7. Delicate little cough. Yes, yes. Hello.
Hello.
How are ya?
Hello, Jack.
Fine.
I'll tell you what I'd like to see. I'd like to see you confront some certain professional associations. I'm specifically thinking of the lawyers and the accountants right now for their closed shop policy of doing away with their set of prescribed examinations for acceptance to their professional associations and requiring that a person has a degree, whether or not a formal degree from a university, whether or not they've learned the applicable information on their own or by any other means.
To put that in English, are you trying to tell me that the legal profession has scrapped the LSAT?
Yes. Oh, no, the LSAT, they have the LSAT, but you used to be able to be accepted to the bar without having a formal education. You could
that's
write
a long
set of
while ago.
prescribed examinations.
That's a long while ago. That was when you became
Right,
optic.
but this is their way of closing the shop, of allowing us, that way they can control the number of people who go into the formal education programs and then thus control the number of lawyers and the supply and demand.
It does seem to produce a kind of standard type of person that gets into the professions.
Yes, to give you an example of where this isn't true, with the Professional Engineering Association, a certain small percentage, 2 to 3%, are engineers who have gone through like steam engineering and then they've written the exams or learned the stuff on their own, written for the professional engineer. And these people tend to be some of the better engineers in the profession.
Because they came up the hard way.
Yes.
Look, that's a point I'll try and make a note of and do something about. I agree there should always be room for the entry of mature, properly qualified students who didn't necessarily come up through the university system.
I agree.
Because one of the best lawyers I ever knew in my life used to be a railroad hand on the CPR. Then he worked in a downtown office for 5 years, and he was a flamboyant, tough guy. And his name was the first Lieutenant General Beatsy I ever met. A rough, tough, roustabout lawyer, very good in court, Gordon Wismer.
Yeah.
Remember him?
I know, before my time, I think, Jack.
Oh, it couldn't have been. It wasn't before my time. How could it have been before yours? I'll be back after the break. Big shot industrialist on to start the program tomorrow morning. Adam Zimmerman, who's the big noise in Noranda, which owns the world, you know, Mac and Blow, whatnot. That should be interesting. First time I'll have ever met him. And a couple of other things going tomorrow. Working on a couple of stories too at the moment. Tomorrow 9 a.m. precisely.